I, it's June 20th, 2025. It's 2:29 a.m. I tried this 10 minutes ago, and I watched the footage back, and I realized I'm sure I always talk to people, and they always have asked me to repeat what I said, and it's because I just I think I speak fast, but I also kind of mumble. I gotta be more clear. It's one of the things we're gonna work on. Um, but yeah, 2:30 a.m. now, June 20th, 2025, and we gotta start something. Um, my life has lacked direction for a while now. I think over the last year, I tried, I thought I had some sort of direction, but I think a lot of the reasons that I was doing things was to uh, sort of avoid the fact that I had to start thinking about a direction. I think that comes naturally to some, comes naturally to others. But I think just to start, I gotta like have things to look forward to. And right now, I don't know how much to like. I'm not the biggest fan of my degree, and I don't think it's a bad degree. Like I think there is a value in the things that we're learning and being able to do it. I think the introduction, yeah, like I don't think it's inherently bad. This isn't like a hating on institutions sort of thing. Um, but yeah, no, I just want things to look forward to, and I think I've been wanting to do this for a while. I said I was gonna start recording at the is it, I guess I can just say the beginning of the year. I was gonna use a fancy word. Yeah, and I did it, and I didn't. I had some ideas. I just think though, I mean, they talk about like artists, like all of the great artists are, mentally unstable, sad, depressed, and I guess it's true. Like a lot of good art comes from strong emotional, strong emotions, and the emotion that I think is easiest to articulate uh, when felt really quite strongly is sadness and is anger. Like you can express happiness, but I feel like people can start to envy that sort of art when they see people happy. I know I do. So I don't. This isn't just like, oh, you got to be above that. I think it's normal when you see other people exploring, exploring the world. Um, you see it online. It's easy to. I don't even think inherently people feel bad, or like feel bad as like, oh, like why this person. It's more just like, dang, like what am I doing? Um, I think over the last year more than ever, I've realized that is kind of most people. It's like, oh, what am I doing? Uh, yeah, and I think the way, at least I've seen the people around me sort of go about addressing that feeling is kind of the same. I think everyone's sort of like settling in. Where we've got what about just under 2 years now left in our degree for any of the Waterloo engineers. Um, yeah, under 2 years, and I think everyone's sort of settling into like this is probably the career path they're gonna take. This is how my work's gonna be. And I think the one thing about doing co-op terms is you get a sense of, somewhat of how adult life is. And from what I've seen from a lot of people, I think people are pretty content with that. I think a lot of people are starting to enjoy the work that they're doing, the environment that they're working in, and the social time that comes out of that. And I don't know, I feel like I've had a different experience. I think I I think that the the life that people are sort of working towards right now, um, it doesn't scare me. I think I could do it. Like I think I could go and work. I mean, that's what I'll be doing in the fall. Working work whatever 9 to 5, 7 to 3, whatever the time is. Work your 8 hours, make your food, make sure like your chores are done, like, around the place that you live and the place that you stay. Do something fun for a bit, go to sleep, and then do it again. Uh, and I think for the most part of human history, that surviving and just surviving is like the number one goal. That's the most important thing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I think there's just something valiant in that, and wanting to do that, and being a part of something, being a part of like a small cog in a big system. Like, you make a big impact, you make a real impact in people's lives. Um, Maybe it doesn't always seem direct, but it definitely exists. It definitely exists. Yeah, so I don't know what it is about it. I learned this term the other day called puer aeternus, and it spoke to me quite a lot. Yeah, it spoke to me quite a lot in the sense that the puer aeternus, I think it was Jung's. I don't know what her first name is. Psychologist from about 100 years ago was talking about this. The puer aeternus is sort of like somebody who never grows up. Puer is, this is referring to men, but like puella, women. Is it Spanish? I don't know if it's Spanish or not. I'm not sure what language it is. Latin, maybe? Something forever. It's like child forever. And it's sort of this idea that these people who, it's becoming more common. I think I fall into this category where they're so, the thing that they fear most is losing their potential. And the reason people say they never grow up, they never take responsibility for things, is that in order to build something, to build a life, to build a career, to live the life that you, maybe not that you envision yourself in, because these people, including myself, don't really have a specific vision in mind. There's a lot of different visions. There's this quote by Sylvia Plath. I don't have the full thing. It's something about a fig tree, where the idea is it's like I'm sitting at the bottom of a fig tree and I'm looking at all these figs, and one fig is of, she said mother. I guess for me it would be father. Like, I see me being a father, having 3 kids, or something like that. Or I see me being an astronaut, and I see me, traveling the world, making art. And she says at the end, it's just like, I see all these figs, but I'm starving to death because of my inability to pick one and eat it. Knowing that when I do that, all of the other ones, go away, or I can't have them. So I think that's probably where I'm at. And I think for a lot of people in my life and around me, maybe to an extent they have also felt that way in the past, but a lot of them have settled on a constellation and become, not constellation, constellation, sort of like a picture, an image of how they want their life to be. And I think I want to start to do that too, but it's always going to be on my own terms. In the sense that obviously there are obligations in the world. You have to do that. But yeah, I want to do that on my own terms. I see something differently for myself. I'm not totally sure what it is yet, and how to. Because I'm also scared of lobbing off my potential. Because when you decide to do something, you have to cut off the possibility of doing all of other stuff. It's just how it works. But if you don't cut off the possibility, you just have potential forever. You never actually did anything. So it always was just, potential, possible. Yeah, it just would always be possible. Talking to the camera is hard. This is interesting. I think I'm just gonna post this one in full. We're gonna just start recording. I might do one of these chats once a day, and then post these, just to get better at talking in front of the camera. This was the plan initially. I remember I did one with my boy, and he got mad at me because you didn't post all of this year, and you made me. I made him record out in the cold, and I posted that one. But I think I want to get better at talking to the camera. Honestly, I might be able to VOD review the way that I speak, because high key, I mumble a lot. I don't realize how much I do it, because in my head I know the words I'm going to say. but I do it a lot, and I have to become more clear when speaking. But yeah, so one of these once a day, we're gonna try. We're gonna try and commit to this. I'm not gonna tell anybody about this. I think it's pretty common. I think growing up, I was worried about how people would look at me when I film. I liked filming even as a kid. It was fun. I used to make movies with my sister. But yeah, I was worried people would go like, "What are they doing? Why are they filming?" But I think it's so common. It's not weird when you don't film, but it's like if somebody's doing TikTok dances at the train station or at the bus stop, it's like okay, this is what happens. This isn't crazy. So I think that's something from wee me, little me, that's still there. But we'll give it a shot. Try to tell us like a practice talking to the camera every day, and then maybe tell a story once a week. I think I have a good idea of how I want this week's story to go. I think midterms just ended. Again, I have a midterm in like 11 hours, and I mean it's been a rough week, but not like it's been a little stressful with midterms. I think at the beginning of the week I was definitely more at it, much more at it than I am now. Yeah, I think there was much more at it than I am now. I think like these sort of stressful times always bring out. In a sense, they're good. They tend to, at least for me, I tend to think about other things that maybe I've been putting off. I'm not a person who puts thinking about things off. I usually much more of a dweller. Much more of a dweller. But sometimes there's just thoughts will pop up, and during stressful times for me, I tend to think about, my life, the things that have happened, what it all means, and what I'm supposed to do with that information. I think that's probably the hardest part. Maybe for anybody. I think I'm pretty good at knowing what it all means. Like when an event will happen, even early on, my ability to diagnose what happened, what went wrong, pretty good at. To treat it, maybe not so good at. Because it's easy to see somebody else talk about how they went through something similar and solved it. And you can try to implement it. And it could be a great solution. If you're having trouble with your family, like your mom, your dad, and your friends, like something's going on, a lot of times people's advice is like it's pretty good, but I just think there's something about taking that and implementing that. And I think the way to describe it would be like metabolizing it. Like you get the information, somebody tells you like, oh, this is how I solved it, and we give it a try. That information, like it's information in your head, but it hasn't become a part of you yet. Kind of like when you eat, I don't know, a sandwich, and like that sandwich in a sense becomes a part of you. It becomes muscle, it becomes fat, new cells. They use that sandwich to make you. So I think maybe getting better at metabolizing information in all aspects of my life. And in doing that, I think, yeah, that's what our first story this week will be about. I have to work on speaking more clearly, less filler words. Because Saturday we have the midterm tomorrow. I think my friends are going climbing. Maybe I'll join them. Some of them are going to the club. I'm sure the club will be a topic of conversation in some of these days. I'm sure it will be. Yeah, honestly, maybe I should start talking to the camera when I want to talk. This is great. I feel great about this. Like I overshare too much anyways. So talking to the camera is no different, and then posting on the internet is no different. As long as I don't use names, it's fine. I mean, people know me, but they're not going to watch this. This is getting really long. Am I gonna post 20 minutes of this? Me just talking? Yeah, sure. Why not? I have to. I'll find a photo with this sweater. It would be a. I mean, I'm already. Bro, I need to get a haircut. This is crazy. Anyways, yeah. To midterm today. It's gonna go how it's gonna go. Saturday, going to Toronto. We gotta record a video for a job application. How many guys? I'm gonna tell stories about something soccer related. Sunday we're going thrifting, and then I deferred one of my midterms from this week to Wednesday, which will probably be good. I think as much as I want to go watch Valorant tomorrow, Paper X fan here, Shopee Jungkook, Jing, David, my Pinoy boy, like so sad, but that midterm's on Wednesday, so I think next week is a pretty good week for telling a story about the start of this. Just like today's the day I decide to start. All my friends have been making spam Instagram accounts. This will be my spam Instagram account. You know me. I can't be the same. I have to be contrary for the sake of being contrary. Contrary? Can I say that, or is it contrary? It's contrary, but can you say contrary? I don't know how to do this language. But yes, next week. That's just the start. Choosing a direction. What direction do we want to go in? And because I've been thinking about it. I know people say, oh, you gotta like pick something, chop off all your pencil. You can't take 10 steps forward in 30 different directions. You're not gonna go anywhere. But next week is like a prime example of us doing that. We're going to do this job application story video thing. I have to still figure out what we're talking about. We're going to Toronto because that's where the World Cup's going to be held. It's part of the application. Good place to shoot, being right in the city that's going to host, one of the cities that's going to host. Thrifting, I mean, I think thrifting will be fun. I feel like I don't know if my wardrobe's any good. I swear I had more things to wear, but the more that I think about it, I guess over the last year, it's been pretty niche outfits. Yeah, it's been pretty niche. That's a big thing. Maybe that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay, hear me out. Game plan. This week, we're talking about starting. The story is going to be about starting. It's going to be about starting. People talk about restarting at 28. People talk about restarting at 36. People restart at 72. You can, this is I wouldn't say restart. This is our beginning. 21 years, it's been a setup. It's been a setup for this. And I think that's the story I'm going to tell this week. Whatever, final, hopefully properly edited video, we're going to tell the story of us starting. Our life starts today. It starts right now. Do I believe that? Some part of me doesn't believe that. So this is going to be the only video I post, and I'm not going to record tomorrow. But that's not true. I'm not going to let it be true. Not this time. So that's what we're going to talk about. This week we're going to tell a story about starting. Our life starts today. Our life began as something strange, and it will return to being something strange, and that's okay. I like that line so much. I think that's what I'm going to call it. I better write that down. That's what this story is going to be called. It started as something strange, and it will return to being something. It will return to being strange. I like that. Yeah, that's what we're going to call it. It started something strange, and it will return to being something strange. This is the start. This is the beginning. That's what we're talking about this week. And then next week, we can talk about how we got. I think I want to talk about change. What led me to this point, and I don't know, just the idea of change. I feel like I like change in some aspects of my life. I think I like novelty, which is a Puerto-Cernist thing. Man-child, I suppose. I do like novelty, but I don't think novelty is always change. I think change in oneself can be a little bit different. Yeah, I don't know. I know people talk a lot about changing a lot like over a year, like how much a person changes themselves over a year, how much their experiences change them over a year. This world can tire us out, tire people out, including me. I don't know if that's how people. I don't think people would describe it like that. It has somewhat of a negative connotation. But I think this world, when you get sucked in to the little, I guess I call them mini games, it gets really tiring. And I think it, like the idea of like a soft or hard heart, I think in terms of me and myself, maybe some of the things that I want to talk about, and that like how we got here to choosing to say that today is the first day of my life. And then it started as something strange and it'll return to being something strange. I think that idea that's like that's a good symbol to use, the idea of soft, like the level of hardness of one's heart. And I guess you could say a child's heart is quite soft. It gets harder over time. But I'd actually have put it maybe more like, I'm an engineer. A sinusoid. A type of, maybe not a normal one. Where people will go through phases of soft and hard. With it maybe scaling, like slowly it does get harder as life goes on. I don't really want that to be true though. Maybe I'll talk about that in my video with whatever happens that week. I think sort of the format that I'll go for is sometimes I'll just be talking to the camera like this. Sometimes it'll just be, we'll try to tell a narrative of the week, because I feel like every week, like every day to an extent has some level of narrative. You know, you get up, you eat, you go out, and then as soon as you go out and it's not just you anymore, the interactions that you have with people are so different, and there's just so many variables. There's bound to be some story that day. Somebody will say something will happen, whether it's within our lives or some parasocial phenomenon that's going on the internet. Something will happen and there'll be a new narrative to tell. That happens during the day. But then there tends to be like some event maybe towards the end of the week, something that happened at the beginning of the week that sort of shapes your week. You sort of have a week-driven narrative, whether that be like this week it was the 5 midterms that we have, but this week isn't driven by the fact that we have midterms. It's driven by the fact, or like the midterms themselves. This week is driven by getting to the point that will happen at 3:30 tomorrow when our last midterm is done. This week is driven by whatever happens in these next 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's not driven by this. So I think, for example, hopefully we get a first video out. But if I were to tell, when I do tell like the starting something new thing, I think again, maybe that'll be an interesting thing to talk about with the sort of shaping things in terms of the week, and talking about how maybe midterms being stressful, and also being surrounding a topic that maybe doesn't interest me that much, led me to start eating. That could be cool. So I think that's just the format I want in general, is we have like these daily narratives, and I mean I'm around my friends, school friends 5 days a week. Maybe I'll see my friends the weekend. So there will be footage, hopefully, from at least like 3 or 4 days in the week. Can use some of that. Just fun things to put, little mini stories. I think that's always, whenever I've thought about making videos, it's always been a mix of the two. I like the vlog style. I think I'm quite, maybe not a natural in terms of quality just yet, but it feels more natural to me when I'm talking to the camera in a moment at an event with a person. It feels very natural. I'll go to people with my phone or with my hand and put my hand out and talk to them like it's an interview. That always feels quite natural to me, just riffing it. But I think where a lot of the value that I can bring, hopefully, to people is not just in that feeling natural to me and hopefully getting better at it, but I think also talking about, everyone knows, at this point everyone knows, maybe I'm too much into psych, probably. I really like philosophy too. especially is dichotomy the right word? The 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 differences in psychology in terms of like whether you're talking about like the East in terms of like like the sort of way of thought that maybe Asian countries have versus the African continent, or I'd probably group Europe and North America into one category, and I'd say in terms of thought, just general like thinking about life, I'd say it's interesting how the Western way of thought, Europe and North America, is affecting the rest of the world. Because while there are good things for the North American and European thought, and there are positive things, I think that it's probably having the most reach just because of the internet to the rest of the world. Whereas some of the other ideas, while the internet is there and it's helping, people in those areas haven't utilized it for spreading their way of thinking as well as North America and Europe has. So maybe talking about that could be cool. Yeah, maybe talking about that could be cool. I don't know. I think sometimes I feel as if I don't have that much to say. No original thoughts. Everything is just a regurgitation of the things that I hear. But then again, I start talking to people and the same people. I mean, when you're around your friends, there's only so much that you can talk about all the time. But there's so much to talk about. I think it's just about feeling comfortable. I don't know. Maybe reasons we'll get to or talk about. I tend there's certain situations will put me in a hyper aware state, and when I'm in a hyper aware state, I feel super negative, and I don't feel like talking. But right now I'm comfortable. I'm in my room, which is a mess. Not. Yeah. But I'm comfortable. I feel safe. Like even when I post this isn't gonna bother me too much. This is a 30-minute video of just me talking. I'm probably just gonna upload this and then delete it from my phone. It can exist on the internet where it's not taking up my storage. But yeah, I think I have lots of cool ideas to share. Like coming up with the ideas isn't the problem. Sometimes the execution of the ideas. It's one thing to just say it to the camera, and it's another thing to, get a shot of, say, my friends and I are going to the beach, and it's a fun, awesome, chill moment. I just had a thought. Maybe we'll get there. Yeah, just you get a shot. You're shot at the beach, you're talking to your friends, whatever, and then I want to be able to obviously make a cohesive narrative. Like this was the narrative of the week, but then transition that into what do people? Not just obviously people care because it's fun to see people what they're doing and how they're doing it and going out and doing cool things. But I think that little touch I want to add is like in my heart or in my head, like what does this moment mean? Not just in like, oh, like my friends are great and they're awesome, which is that's what they are. My friends have changed me a lot and are very special and dear to me. I would say that maybe we can talk about friends, but I'd say there is, maybe we'll end it off here because this is a 30-minute video that I have to upload to YouTube. My uni friends, I'd say I have no friends who are more precious to me than my university friends. And then I'd say my close like high school friends who I still talk to now, there is none more beloved to me than them. That's how I would describe it. And maybe people will hear that and think like, what does that even mean? But I think those words do it justice. There's no one more precious to me than my university friends, and there's no one more beloved to me than probably my high school friends. That's how I would describe it. And I think that encapsulates, fancy coding word. I am supposed to know what encapsulation means. I don't. I think that encapsulates very perfectly that sentiment regarding my friends, the place that I'm in right now. And we'll see, hopefully, maybe if I do this consistently enough. No, I will do this consistently how that will change over time. Hopefully for the better. I want things to be better, and I think they can be. Doesn't always have to be doom and gloom. But yes, I think I'm going to title this It Started as Something Strange and Will Return to Being Something Strange. We're going to, just to review, if I ever do look back on this, just remember, we're talking about starting new. My life starts today. And the week after, we're probably going to talk about how we got here and like people changing and how much I've changed, whether I like it or not. I like that idea. Okay, it's been 30 minutes of me yapping to the camera. I hope it's been clear. I don't know. I've been trying to be conscious, not conscious, not conscience, conscious of whether I'm mumbling or not, and whether my speaking is clear. I hope it is. Sometimes I've been pausing more than normal. But yeah, we're gonna do this every day, and hopefully we'll get better. I think we will get better. All right. To the 0 people who will be watching this, or 1 person, maybe Ani will see it. I don't know. Yeah. I will see you tomorrow. Wait, I always say things in short. I'll see you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. All right, maybe tonight. It's Friday already. Maybe I'll see you again today. Peace and love. Nah, I can't mean that. We'll mix it up. We'll figure out an outro thing. That's good for now. Mewing? No. Brain rot. Maybe that's another thing we'll talk about. How to get rid of brain rot. I'm gonna try and do that.